Hey everybody, it's Judy Klock, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, coming to you from Middletown, Virginia. And today I'm going to do a different type of tutorial. I'm not actually going to be making cards. I'm going to be making a little version of an advent calendar that you can use to gift to someone that will have 24 ideas for free or very low cost activities that you can do during December to really just make some memories and just have fun. So let's take a look at what we're going to be working on today. So now this I made with some retired paper, but it's just a little book, and it's going to have, you're going to open it up, and inside are 24 little pockets, and I've come up with 24 little different activities you can do. So this one says, make handmade gift tags or card, perfect for using up scraps and creativity. So we've got 24 different ideas. So this is going to go together so quickly, and I have lists of these ideas that I can give you. It's a PDF. So if you want the list of ideas, I have a list for families, one for couples, and one for singles or groups of friends. So really, you could gift this to really pretty much anybody on your Christmas gift list. I know I'll be handing these out to my nieces and nephews on Thanksgiving to use with their families. So let's go ahead and take a look. So what you're going to need is you're going to need 2 pieces of paper, designer series paper, that are 7¼ by 7¼ and we're going to use this for the cover of our little advent book. You're going to need 2 pieces of cardboard. This I just took out from like when we get like the designer series paper, the specialty paper. I just took this and I cut it to 6 by 6. You're going to need a piece of basic white that is 6 by 12, and we're going to score that. You're going to need 3 pieces of designer series paper that are 1¼ by 12, and we're going to score this at 1½ inch all along the way. Some scraps to punch out some little circles, and then just another scrap to do a die cut. I did a die cut from the traditional labels die set. So let's go ahead and get started on our book. Let's start with doing all the scoring that we need. So I'm going to pull in my scoring tool. This is a great tool. If you don't have it, this is perfect for great projects like this. So I'm going to try to see, I'm trying to balance it on my desk, but so you can see the numbers, but I don't know if I can see them. But along the top, I'll show you here, there are numbers 1 to 12. And I'm going to put my piece of basic white in here with the 12 inches across the top, and I'm just going to score it at 6 inches. And I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees so that my 6-inch length is across the top, and I'm going to score it at 2 inches and at 4 inches. And this really doesn't do anything other than give us a straight line to put our designer series paper on. So we don't need to fold the 2-inch and 4-inch lines. We just need to fold and burnish that 6-inch line, because you're not even really going to see these score lines. That's really just for our use when we're putting it together. Then we're going to take our designer series paper that is 1¼ by 12. We're going to score it at 1½, at 3, at 4½, at 6, at 7½, at 9, and at 10½. And I will have all of these measurements in the blog post, but essentially you're going to create 8 1½-inch sections along. So then we're just going to fold this and burnish these along our fold lines and score lines. Just going to press those. And because it's designer series paper, I don't really want to use a bone folder because it can rip sort of easily. So I'm just going to press it with my fingers, and that will give us enough of a score. Then we're going to score our cover. And I'm going to score this at 5/8 of an inch all around. So I'm going to score it at 5/8, and I'm just going to keep rotating it 90 degrees because honestly, it's just easier for me to do the 5/8 on this side. I don't have to think about math. So, all right, let's go ahead. We've got all of our scoring done. let's get started. So first I'm going to work on our cover. I've already done one half of it. You need two covers. I've already done one. Now this, I am going to trim this right along here. It's kind of hard to see, but I'm going to cut this on a diagonal. I don't know if you can see it better on this side. Kind of just above where those score lines cross. So just slightly above where those score lines cross. And I'm going to do this on all four sides. And that's going to give us a nice tapered look for our cover. All right. Now I'm going to put some tear-in tape that I just had that I have now lost. I'm going to find my tear-in tape. Here it is. And I'm going to put some tear-in tape along here. Pretty close to the top edge. Not too close, but pretty close to that top edge. And don't worry if you go over a little bit. It'll all come out when we're done. Okay. You might notice I have a big silicone mat on my desk right now. And that's because later on when we work with the glue, it's going to get a little messy. All right. So you'll notice here that I've sort of already got one half of my covers done. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my cardboard in there. And I'm going to, well, before I do that, I forgot. I want to make sure that I put my ribbon in the right place, because when I did my first sample, I didn't like the way my ribbon was. It wasn't exactly even. So I know I want my ribbon to be even. So I'm going to measure on here. I'm going to come down about an inch and a half. I'm going to measure at 3 inches. I'm going to go 1/4 of an inch on each side because my ribbon is a 1/2 inch wide. So I'm putting a mark at 2 3/4, 3 inches, and 3 1/4 because I know I want my ribbon to sit kind of right in between there. And it may not be exactly even, but it will be much closer than on my first one, which was really, really off. I'll show you that one too. First one's always the toughest one to do, right? I'm just going to make sure I kind of have this all sided right. And then I'm just going to come along here. We're just going to fold those flaps over. Okay. Okay. Now we've got our flaps folded over. I want to take my ribbon and I want to put it in between my marks, just like that. And I'm just going to use some regular old cellophane tape to just kind of hold that in place. We'll hold it in place more when we actually put our book together, but for now, this is going to be just fine. And hopefully if I did this right, see, the ribbons will kind of match up and be a little bit more even. At the end, I'll show you my very first one that I did that I wasn't that impressed with. All right, so we've got that done. I'm going to put that off to the side. Now we've got our, what I call the inside or the guts. Now this I am going to burnish with my bone folder because this is cardstock. So remember, I said I just wanted to burnish the fold line because that's where the book is going to fold. These horizontal lines we're just using really to help us place our DSP evenly. So I'm going to bring out here, I wish Stampin' Up! Still had these little mini punches. This is a 1/2 inch circle punch. And I am just going to punch a little semicircle on each of these. It's going to like go flying. I have little bits of cardstock all over my floor. This paper was so pretty, but I wanted to use the more, I guess the less busy side. So I went with the stripes on this one. Okay. So I want my green side up. So I'm going to just make sure, now we're going to make sure that our bottom edges are even and our top edges are even. Okay, it doesn't really matter if you work from the top down or you work from the bottom up. Let's work from the top down. So I'm going to move this out. I'm going to take my glue. Now, I just put our regular multi-purpose liquid glue in a needle nose glue bottle. So I'm going to put a little bit. I did this hoping it wouldn't clog, but here it comes. Okay. So I'm just going to put a little bit on the bottom and the edges. You don't need a lot. I mean, it's not going to, you're not going to be ripping this thing apart, we hope. So hopefully just a little bit, just some little dots of glue, just enough to hold it. We don't want it to be crazy gluey. All right, and then we're going to put a little bit along each of these score and fold lines. Okay, because that is what's going to make the little pockets, and that's why the needle nose glue bottle comes in handy. Now, I just bought this on Amazon. Stampin' Up! Does sell a needle nose glue bottle. It's always out of stock, though. It's very popular. So I just put my liquid, multi-purpose liquid glue in my own little needle nose bottle. All right, so now I've got this. I'm going to come here and carefully being the operative word, I'm going to, this is my 6-inch, and I'm just going to adhere this, and see how I'm using that score line to kind of figure out how to place this on the straight. And then I'm just going to make sure that I kind of push each little fold line down so that will adhere and create the pocket. Okay, we're going to do that again on our next one. Oh, good. The dogs are barking. Yay. They are upstairs. I am downstairs, and that is my crazy beagle. And they literally bark at nothing. It could be a leaf, a squirrel, 1,000 dragons attacking the house. It doesn't matter. They just get all bent out of shape. Okay, and we're just going to make this other pocket. Okay, this is probably the most time, well, I guess maybe the prep work, but doing this little bit of gluing is, I think, the most time-consuming part of this whole process, because it takes just a little bit of time to make sure you're getting that glue kind of where you want it and not where you don't. All right, let's go ahead and put this on the second one. So it's, there we go. All right, again, I'm using that score line just to kind of help me keep it on the straight line. Oops, gotta move that over just a little bit. Okay, there you go. All right, I'm gonna push those little lines down. Excuse me. And now we've got our last one. And this is going to be even with the bottom edge. Okay, so this hopefully will be, it's really not that much work. I know it seems like maybe I'm taking forever doing this. I'm really just trying to be careful putting this glue on, but this really isn't that involved. It's a pretty easy project. And like I said, just putting this glue on and making sure you're not getting a gluey mess everywhere is what takes the most time or care. It's not even time. I just want to be careful. I don't want to end up with glue everywhere, because I did on my first try. I had glue everywhere. I am not the neatest person to use a glue bottle, but I keep trying. Okay, again, that one's a little bit off. Move it over. Ooh, gosh, looks like that was cut short. Okay, put that down. Whoop. Okay. And there. Now we've got that. Now I think we're ready to put it into our card base. I'm gonna got one of my covers here. Now, a word to the wise, make sure that you put that fold opposite the ribbon. Okay, that's just a little warning there. Make sure you put the fold opposite the ribbon. Let's put our other cover on. Okay. Again, put the fold opposite the ribbon. And I like using the liquid glue for this part because it gives me a little bit of time to make sure that I've got all my edges even. I'm actually going to take this off for now because I feel like it's getting glue everywhere. Okay. Right now, I want to punch. And again, I'm using an old punch. This is 3/4 of an inch. Don't have a punch, just cut little squares. I need 24 of these little circles, which fortunately I have already cut. And we are just going to label them with our numbers. So I did green for the odd numbers. This is Old Olive. And I did Cherry Cobbler for the even numbers. Now these markers are going away. So if you want some of these markers, make sure you order them now because they are going away. Now these we're just going to put on. It's so easy with these. I'm just going to use a little tiny, you can use glue dots, you can use liquid glue, or you can use, if you're brave, you can use some Stampin' Seal. And I am feeling somewhat brave, so I'm just going to start with some Stampin' Seal. If I know where it is, there it is. And we're just simply going to put one on each pocket until we get all the, now there's 8 pockets across, so that gives us our 24. I can't even pick it up. That's my blank one. All right, let me see. I'm not going to do all of these now, but here's 4. I can get some of these on. There's 4. I found 3. There's 5. So you get the idea, right? So we're going to put all 24 of our numbers on, and then we're going to cut apart our sheets. Let me bring those over here. So like I said, I've got a sheet for, this is 24 free and meaningful Christmas Advent ideas for families, 24 free and meaningful Christmas Advent ideas for couples, and 24 free and festive Advent ideas for singles or friends groups. So we have things like on the families, take a drive to see Christmas lights, pick your favorite decorated house. Again, very low cost, but you're going to make memories. Make a playlist of everyone's favorite holiday songs. Do a silent night. Turn off screens, light candles, and just be. For couples, have a tech-free night. Just candles, soft music, and conversation. Take a drive to look at the lights. Bring a thermos of your favorite cocoa. Read the Christmas story together. End with a quiet prayer or reflection. And for our singles, decorate your space together. Music on, cocos in hand, memories made. Do a game night, board games, trivia, or make your own a ridiculous holiday challenge. So these are just some of the ideas that you can do putting in this little advent calendar. Like I said, I cut them apart. It was pretty easy. You can use your paper trimmer or you can use a cutter, and you just stick one in each little slot, and then you've got 24 great ideas so that people can have a very fun and meaningful Christmas. We're going to decorate this one. This one I put Merry Christmas on the front. If you're feeling really festive, this is the very first one I did. I made a matching envelope. Again, I used Stampin' Up's old envelope board. I wish they had these things again. This one I went really crazy on. I did the 24 days of joy, and I cut out all those letters. These I did put on adhesive sheets. So these are just some ideas of what you can do. This is a lot of work. I also hand cut all of these numbers, which again was a lot of work. And you can see I forgot to put like the little like hole there to pull things out of. So again, this is the very first one I did. This was like my concept idea. And then this was the second one I did. And I kind of like the way that turned out I put all the little, all the little slots in there, put that little divot in there is the word I'm looking for. And I put all of my little challenges or events or memories to be made. And then we're going to finish up this one. And I am just going to I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do the Merry Christmas, but I might cut out some Christmas greenery, some holly berries, and put that on there too, and really decorate that up. But those are just some ideas. I did already make an envelope for this one too. So I have to put the tear and tape on it, but I made it to fit a 6 by 6.5. This I made to fit a 6 by 6-inch card. It was a little tight, so I wanted to do a little bit bigger for the next one. And I actually did a test one. This is not the right cardstock, but I wanted to do a test one. And this one actually fits it a little bit better, especially when the bow is tied, because that bow adds just a little bit of bulk. So this one is the 6 by 6.5-inch size. I think is just a skosh better for this gift. And if you have the old envelope board, what is this called? This is the envelope punch board. I tell you, if you have this is great. And it will tell you right here, for 6 by 6.5, you need a 10 by 10-inch piece of paper, and you score that first line at 4 3/4, and then you just follow the score guide on the envelope punch board. I wish they would bring this back. Maybe we should all write in to Stampin' Up and tell them, bring back the envelope punch board. It's such a great tool to have. I'm losing my voice here. All right, everybody, that's it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I hope that you liked this idea. I hope that it gives you some thoughts about alternate things you can make and give for Christmas. It doesn't always have to be a physical present. Sometimes just giving people the ideas of what they can do for free to create lasting memories is really sometimes the best gift of all. That's it for me tonight. Have a great night, everybody. I will see you all next Thursday. Bye.